As the final round of the 2022 inaugural LIV Golf season has come to a close, I wanted to make a video recapping all of the drama that's been going on between LIV Golf and the PGA Tour, and to look ahead and to see what's going to happen in 2023 for both tours. Shout out to Andrew, who one of my subscribers who suggested I make this video. If you guys have any suggestions for videos in the future, leave them in the comments, or you can find me on my socials. I'll link them in the description below. And we'll take any ideas, whether it be sports, politics, news, and I'll do my best to cover them. But just getting right into it here, just covering the final event from the 2022 season for LIV Golf. It happened at Trump Doral in Florida, and four aces ended up winning the 2022 team championship, which is led by Dustin Johnson, who also won the individual title. There millions of dollars were won. I'm not going to go into all the numbers here. If you're not familiar, LIV Golf is the Saudi-backed league that was just created this past year to counter the PGA Tour that's been around for a very long time. And I'll get into my thoughts later in the video about what I think about it, but I just wanted to cover the news part of it first, and then I'll get into my opinion later on in the video. But just looking at the results here for the final day, this was a team championship, and they had an interesting format where they had each player play individually 18 holes, and the total of all the scores from between the four teams, whoever had the lowest was the winner. And it came down right to the end, onto the very last hole at the Blue Monster. Cameron Smith needed to make a birdie on the last and was unable to, and then Dustin Johnson's team, consisting of Patrick Reed, Taylor Gooch, and Pat Perez, ended up winning the team championship as well. So the team with Punch Golf Club, Cameron Smith, Mark Leishman, Matt Jones, Wade Ormsby, fought valiantly. Cameron Smith pretty much carried them, shot 7 under 65, and had a very good day, but fortunately it was not enough. Now we're getting into the free agency part, so it'll be interesting to see if they add more teams to it, if more players come over from the PGA Tour and from the DP World Tour, or formerly the European Tour and other tours, to make up some more teams. I'm sure the Saudis, with their pockets, will be able to forward these players. It'll just be interesting to see who comes over. But all in all, it was a pretty successful season for them. I don't know what their ratings were. Primarily, they were on YouTube. They weren't on like major news networks like NBC or CBS, like the Golf Channel is, and most of the PGA Tour events are on. But I think they did pretty well altogether. I mean, I didn't check the views or anything like that, but there was pretty good generation. They have good social media. They're pretty active on there on Twitter. The commentary, leaves a little more to be desired. R.L. White, formerly a soccer announcer, has been their play-by-play guy. Not the greatest fan of him, but he's improved over the season. They also have Jerry Foltz, who's very good, formerly from the Golf Channel. He's a good color commentator, good the ins and outs. And they got, of course, the great David Faraday doing on-the-ground stuff. I mean, if you know golf, you know David Faraday. You've probably seen his face before. He's very popular. But just wanted to quickly cover. This came out in the last couple of days. Now, so the RNA is the Royal Nation Golf Club. They are responsible for the British Open. That happens every year, one of the four majors. They have now come out again saying that they're not going to ban anyone that's been on the LIV Golf Tour to play in the Open. Cameron Smith, who is the current British Open champion, or Open Golfer of the Year, I'm probably saying that wrong, Champion Golfer of the Year. He won the British Open, and then after that came to LIV Golf, and that was a huge get for them. Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, and then Bryson DeChambeau were some of the bigger names, besides like Lee Westwood, Sergio Garcia, Ian Poulter, and they have some others, lesser names sprinkled in there. But Cameron Smith was a huge get for them, and that signaled to me that big things are going to be happening with LIV Golf, and I think they're here to stay. Obviously, they have an ongoing lawsuit now with the PGA Tour over antitrust when it comes to communications with the back and forth as to how these players came over. There's a lot of muddying going on there. I'm not going to get into all the minutia of that, but there's a lot of advertisement dollars that are being there's a lot of discrepancy there. But just to get to this article here, so the RNA chief said he's not going to ban anyone. So as it stands now, all the LIV Golf players will be playing at the British Open Championship next year, which I think is the right move. And they're kind of just playing it by year, just sitting on the fence here to see what's going to happen. Now, the other majors, not worried about the PGA Tour events. Obviously, they've been banned or whatever. They're not allowed to play in them until this gets resolved. So, but I'm mainly focused in this video on the 4 majors. So starting with the Masters. The Masters is a private tournament. So I think they are the least likely to allow the players from LIV Golf to come in. A lot of them are former Masters winners, including Dustin Johnson and Phil Mickelson. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, what they do there. But it is a private tournament, so it's up to the Masters, the Augusta National Golf Club, if they want to allow these players to play. Right now, I'm leaning towards no, unless something changes in litigation, if they come to a resolution. Now, moving on to the U.S. Open, that is an open qualifier. So it's really open to anyone, but they do have a lot of ties to the PGA Tour. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do there with that. If they're going to allow the players like the British Open, or if they're just going to keep it separate. And then finally, for the last of the 4 majors is the PGA Championship. Now second on the list, I believe. It used to be the last one. They got moved up now. They're all interchanged now. I think they're probably up closer to the Masters when it comes to allowing LIV Golf players into their event. Obviously, the PGA Championship is heavily linked to the PGA Tour, so I think it's less likely they would be involved as well. And turns out that the U.S. and the British are going to be the last 2, so they're going to have some more time to see everything play out in litigation, and if they come to a resolution between the 2 parties. Now, ideally, I think they should come to a resolution when it comes to this, because in all, this is improving golf for the fans. Now, the PGA Tour wants to gripe because I think, they were the only game in town. The European Tour, the DP Tour now, let's say, they were always viewed as lesser than. They have some great events. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Irish Open, the Scottish Open, many other events that were, good to watch, and, if you're a golfing fan. And they just had good players, too, in them. But PGA Tour is pretty much where it's at. You see all the European Tour players were coming over, playing on the tour. Now, the PGA Tour still has some great players: Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, obviously Tiger, if he's able to play. Obviously his body's pretty banged up now, so it's tough for him to get out there for the regular events, but he's, gunning for the majors still, of course. But it will be interesting to see what he does with that moving forward. But I really think, LIV Golf is, doing a lot of good things, and it should continue on this momentum. And it'd be interesting now that we're in the kind of free agency period of LIV Golf. I'm not sure when they're set to resume for next year. I could take a look here at their tickets. So yeah, they haven't even announced anything yet. So they just have the different types here. So it's leaves to be seen when they're going to be coming out with new events. Obviously, they have a very limited schedule compared to the PGA Tour. And a lot of the courses are going to be played at a couple of former President Trump's courses. Of course, Trump Doral, which is the last one. They played at Bedminster in New Jersey. I think he has another course in the DC area that they're going to be playing at as well. He also owns Turnberry over in Europe, and they haven't had a British Open there for several years. This is more politically charged than having anything to do with LIV Golf, but maybe Trump allows them to play there too, which would be a huge get for LIV Golf if they can play at Turnberry, because it's usually in the rotation for the Open Championship. Hasn't been in recent years, but that would be a great course for them to play as well. So, leaning towards the side of LIV Golf on this. I think, it's good for the game. And it's also causing the PGA Tour to increase their purses, because of the money that's being infused into golf. Obviously, golf, with the Tiger Woods effect, I call it, has been, there's been a huge increase in earnings for all the players. They can all pretty much thank Tiger for that. Obviously Jack and Arnold Palmer, kind of propelled that a little bit forward, decades ago. But then Tiger took it to the next level with him and Phil. So, we'll see what happens there. But PGA Tour now, they're trying to come out with their own version of kind of like a LIV Golf Tour type style event, which hasn't come out yet at the making of this video, but we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be, kind of like quick little matches, and they're trying to make it very short, because normal golf obviously is 4 or 5 hour round per player, and it's usually like eight hours of coverage. So they're trying to make this more like prime time, couple of hours, to kind of try to hook people in. That's what LIV Golf did with their model, with only having 54 holes and having different types of events. And obviously, if you watch any of the LIV Golf, they have music sometimes playing in the background, so it's not like it's kind of, I don't want to say it's like Happy Gilmore, but it's, they're fine with noise being in the background. So they don't have to be completely quiet. Obviously, the fans are respectful, and if there's something big going on, they're not going to be blaring a megaphone or blaring music in the middle of his swing. But they try to make it more of a lively atmosphere, which I think is good, and is drawing a younger audience to the game, which is ideally what you want. See what happens with this whole court proceeding between the two. As of now, they're trying to get discovery. PGA Tour is asking for discovery for the Saudi company to get a deposition. Has to do with communications of how they got the players over. So we'll see what happens with that. Probably in the next couple of months, we'll get a resolution on that. As we get closer to the Masters, I think is when this will start to ramp up a little bit more, if they haven't come to anything by then, because then people will be constantly asking the question, is Dustin Johnson playing in the Masters? Is Phil playing in the Masters? Is Brooks Koepka playing in the Masters? Bryson, all the rest. So we'll see what happens there. But just wanted to make this video covering the two tours. And leave your comments down below, what you think about the whole LIV Golf versus PGA Tour. If you're on one side or the other, just leave your comments down below. Like the video, subscribe to my channel if you like the content. I try to post every day YouTube videos, whether it be covering news, politics, sports, anything that pops up. I just recently talked about Elon Musk buying Twitter and all my reasons for that. I'll leave a link at the end of the video for that, covering that and what my theory is with that. And share the video with your friends. And thanks for watching, and take care.